Today we're going to be talking about some GMT watches, specifically the Rolex GMT and the Tudor GMT. We have a couple Pepsi versions here with us today. We're going to talk about some of the differences between these two watches, some of the similarities, some of the key features, and hopefully help you out if you're in the market for either one of these watches. First, let's take a look at the Rolex GMT. We have the Pepsi version, the 126710 here. And the GMT was introduced by Rolex in 1955 as a multi-time zone watch for professional pilots. The Rolex GMT has a 40mm case that's constructed of Rolex's 904L stainless steel. The Rolex also features the Cerachrome bezel insert with engraved numerals. And this is more scratch and fade resistant than the aluminum versions. It also has a bidirectional bezel with 24 spots all the way around. The lume on this GMT is Rolex's patented Chromolite, which glows blue when the lights go out. Also, this watch features 100 meters of water resistance and features a sapphire crystal with a Cyclops magnification lens over the date. This GMT has Rolex's in-house caliber 3285 movement, which features independently adjustable hour hands for GMT functionality. It's a 70-hour power reserve, which also has bidirectional winding and an anti-magnetic blue parachrome balance spring. The 3285 caliber is also certified as a superlative chronometer, which is guaranteed to minus or plus 2 seconds per day. The Rolex GMT is only available on the steel Jubilee bracelet with the Oyster Lock folding clasp. However, there are some other color options for the watch. You can get it in the version that we see here, which is the Pepsi variant, which has the blue and red bezel with the red GMT hand, or also there's the Batman version that has the black and blue on the bezel and the blue GMT hand. And the retail price on the Rolex GMT is going to be $9,250. All right, next up, let's talk about the Tudor Black Bay GMT. Tudor introduced the Black Bay collection in 2012 as a vintage-inspired dive watch. The Black Bay GMT reference that we have here, 79830, was introduced in 2018 at Baselworld. Tudor's GMT has a 41mm stainless steel case and has no crown guards. This GMT has an aluminum anodized bezel insert featuring the red and blue Pepsi colors. It also has a bidirectional bezel that features 48 clicks all the way around. This watch features a domed sapphire crystal that lends itself to the more vintage-inspired look. The crystal also sits slightly proud of the bezel and has no Cyclops magnification over the date. The lume on this Tudor is applied to both the hands and hour markers and glows more of a green color in the dark. Also, since this GMT features the same case as the Tudor Black Bay dive watches, you get a water resistance of 200 meters compared to the 100 meters of the Rolex. This watch features Tudor's in-house caliber MT5652. This movement has independently adjustable hour hands, a 70-hour power reserve, bidirectional winding, and an anti-magnetic silicone balance spring. It's also COSC certified, guaranteed to -4 or +6 seconds per day. There are a few different options for this Tudor GMT, however those options are going to be different than the Rolex model. For instance, this one comes in only one bezel color, which is the blue and red Pepsi version. There are a few different bracelet options. Here we have the stainless steel Oyster that again is kind of vintage inspired and shows the rivets on the side. But it's also available in a fabric strap that's similar to a NATO or a leather strap. The price for this Tudor GMT on a bracelet is $3,950 and comes in slightly less at $3,625 if you go for one of the strap options. We went over some of the details and specs of both of these watches, but now let's take a look at them side by side and see some of the key differences and some of the similarities. First, starting out, they're both stainless steel watches, they're both GMT, and they both have the Pepsi red and blue bezels. Sizing, the Tudor's a little bit bigger. It's 41mm versus the 40mm on the Rolex. Also the bezels. The Rolex has the patented Cerachrome bezel, which is a lot shinier, a little sharper looking, and it's also more durable and more scratch resistant. The Tudor has the aluminum bezel. Has more of a vintage feel, more of a softer look. Personally, I really like the look, but it won't last as long or be as durable as the Rolex. They're both time, date, and GMT function watches that have sapphire crystals. However, the Rolex has the flat sapphire crystal with the Cyclops, and the Tudor has the domed sapphire crystal with no Cyclops. Again, more of the vintage-inspired feel. The bracelet is also a big difference between these two watches. On the right, here we have the Tudor with the Oyster bracelet that has the rivets on the side, and on the left we have the Rolex that has the Jubilee bracelet, and that's the only option this is available in. The Rolex case also has crown guards, where the Tudor case does not. Both of these watches feature their manufacturer's in-house movements. They both have 70-hour power reserves, independently adjustable hands, and bidirectional winding. These two watches feature different lume as well. The Rolex has the Chromolite, which will glow blue in the dark, whereas the Tudor is more of a green color. And while both of these watches are water resistant, the Tudor is actually going to give you a higher depth rating. You get 200 meters worth of water resistance on the Tudor, and only 100 meters on the Rolex GMT. Finally, let's talk about the size of these two watches. The Tudor's 1mm bigger at 41mm case instead of the Rolex's 40, but it wears quite a bit larger than that. The Tudor also has a significantly thicker case design, so it'll sit taller on your wrist. That combined with the protruding crystal, and it sits quite a bit bigger. Also, the Rolex has a tapered Jubilee bracelet, which makes it feel a little bit smaller and seem a little bit smaller on your wrist compared to the Tudor's bigger, chunkier oyster-style bracelet. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for these two GMTs. Both the Rolex and the Tudor GMT are great watches and would make a great addition to anyone's collection. If you're in the market for either of them, hopefully we've shown you some of the differences and similarities and helped you in your choice. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to stop by next time for more reviews, comparisons, and how-to guides.